And then it's Thomas Moore who repels it back out to midfield. Lindstrom. Terminini passes left side. Ulisoy. Batted away at the last moment. Good punch saved by Keegan Grant, but it'll result in a corner kick for Thomas Moore.
To the College Insider today, we're sitting down with Keegan Grant, the 2024 GMAC Goalkeeper of the Year, and he played for Findlay University in NCAA Division 2. He's had an incredible season, helping his team catch the GMAC conference title, and now he's going up into the national tournament rounds. It's a huge achievement, and we're excited to dive into what makes him such a standout athlete. In this interview, we'll explore Keegan's perspective on the differences between NCAA Division 1 and 2, how he mentally prepares for his games, and what it takes to succeed at this level. He's sharing insights, stories, and advice that an aspiring college athlete will find valuable. It's going to be a great conversation, so stick around. Talk to me. Tell me more about, how... Well, I know how it feels to be a champion now, and I think you're going to get some shiny championship rings being sent to you over the next handful of months as well. So that's going to be interesting to see what they cook up for you. A little bit of bling, but it looked like an awesome, mate, just an amazing experience all the way through. Even for me, kind of looking at, I'd literally every week go back in. How'd you do? Did you win? How'd you go? And it's kind of almost it's like a storybook season, and I love those kinds of seasons, and especially for Findlay, I think they were always kind of that, almost somewhere in the middle of the GMAC, and it looks like everything's kind of come together. How do you think and feel that it's all come together in that way?
Yeah, look, I think from the get-go. When the preseason polls came out, I think we were ranked like 7th. So teams were looking at us almost like writing us off immediately. They were going, it's just Findlay. Like it's probably a 6-pointer there or a 3-pointer there. Like they're not really a challenge. But we had a really, really strong core of players that came back from last year. We did have quite a few seniors. I think there's like 7 or 8 seniors in the team. But even like some of the sophomores, a few juniors as well. Like we all just like sort of clicked in preseason. We went up to Michigan and we played Saginaw Valley in one of our preseason games, and they're a really good team. I think they're ranked, whatever they're ranked in our region. So, and after that game, we were sort of like, right, like we need to start putting it together a bit more. Because at that point, we'd be like, this is sort of who we're going to be coming up against, this kind of quality of team. So after that game, it seemed like every game, it just got better and better and better. And then at the start of the season, we had a little bit of a slip up against Kentucky Wesleyan, a team we played in the final. And they ended up beating us 2-0 at home. It was like, we were a bit shocked. We were like, we feel like that one got away from us there. Feel like that's drop points. But then after that, it was just like win. And even when we didn't win, it was tie. And I think we went on like a 10+ game of just not losing. And it was just all coming together every game. It was just like, even when we didn't play well, we just find a way. And I think coming from the start of the season, when it was like all these teams looking at you like, it's just Findlay, like they're not really going to challenge for anything. Week in, week out, teams were starting to look at us. They went, maybe they are competing. And they got closer and closer to the season, and it was like we were chasing to win the conference. And I think teams were a bit shocked by that. They were like, where's this come from? Because, like you said, historically, Findlay's sort of just been in that like middle section, trying to fight for playoffs, just squeezing in, or maybe just falling out. Then obviously that all happened, and then we were a little bit disappointed towards the end of the season. We felt like we could have won it. it was probably in our hands. But then we had a real tough run of fixtures towards the end of the season. I think it was like we played the top 3 or the top 4 in like 3 of our 4 final games. So, you know, it was a little bit disappointing to not win it after putting in such a good season. But at that point, we were just fully focused on the tournament. And obviously doing so well in the season, we got that bye round into the semi-final against the 6th seeded team, I think it was. And it was a tough game. It was a tough game. It was probably harder than the actual final itself. You know, 4-4 in regular time, went on to penalties. I think the moment we stepped up for that first penalty, though, it was like we knew we were going to win. It was like we practiced in training. We just said we are going to do what we've done all season, and we're just going to find a way. And that's what we did. And just like that, we were in our first GMAC tournament final in history, which was crazy. A lot of the boys, a lot of the seniors were like, fellas, like, I've never been in a situation like this in my 5 years here. Like, we need to take it. We need to grab it. And that's what we did. We went in there, probably played all round one of our best games of the season. Just everything just gelled. And, you know, considering it was the first time in history we'd ever been in a final, we didn't look out of place at all. And what an experience, you know, first team to do it. That was one of the things that the coach said to us. He goes, regardless of what happens in the future, if you boys go out there and do it today, you've made history. You'll be the first to do it. You'll always be the first to do it. And I tell you what, just the emotions after that final whistle went, it was just like nothing like experience.
It looked amazing. Yeah. I think they captured it so well on film as well. I was looking at some of the reels that the media team put together, and it just looked amazing. Just a lot of celebrations and happiness, and you know. So, I guess what was the secret sauce, man? What was the magic during the season? Like, what was the mental, you know, kind of mindset? You know, what were you guys thinking about, like, all the way through? Was it just hang on by our pants the best that we can week in, week out, or was it more like, hey, we're coming in here with a bit of a strategy and a bit of a process? Like, talk us through it, right? Because a lot of people from the outside in would say, you know, there's a kind of a structure and a process, and sometimes that's not always the case, right? Sometimes it's just right place, right time, right people, right environment. Was it structure and process, or was it just like magic? It was like everyone, it was kind of like everyone in sync and everyone just putting their head down and working.
Yeah. I'd say it was definitely a combination. I think very much the start of the season, it was a process, you know, coming in for pre-season. You know, lots of new guys. It was a pretty big incoming class. So, you know, all of the returning guys trying to get everyone into the team culture and make sure everyone was ready to go. It was a bit of a process, you know. But definitely as the season went on, it became more of that gelling and, you know, sort of that magic. It would be like, even like I said, if we didn't play well, we just find ways to get over the line. So yeah, I'd say, and a lot of that would come down to the coach. He did a really good job of keeping that structure in the team. You know, prior to game days, always have team meetings. The day before a game, we'd be at practicing set pieces, working on our defending, going out to training for early finishing, that sort of thing. So I think it was definitely a combination. And just having such a tight-knit group towards the end of the season was really what kept us going. Because throughout the year we did have quite a few injuries as well. So there were games where probably guys that would normally start weren't starting, and then the boys that probably didn't have as much experience as those starters. They just slotted in, and it was just like they were meant to be there. And I think a lot of that comes down to that structure that, one, the returning players implemented with the culture, and then two, from the coaching staff, keeping the high standards.
Yeah. How did you prepare? I think that's the most important thing, right? Because if you look at the accolades this year, and it's almost been a year-upon-year thing, right? And people might look from the outside in and say, well, maybe the college soccer system and the level probably not that good, and you could probably go in there and trumpet no problem, and that's just not the case, as you know. But I guess from your perspective, this is like a massive accolade that you've received this year, Goalkeeper of the Year, and you've just won from year upon year, whether it was Concord to begin with, now transitioning into Findlay, winning all regional awards, first team, all regional awards, and also, Goalkeeper of the Year. Like, what is it? What do you think that, you've done differently? Have you grown? And/or, is there just kind of a process that you undertake, day in, day out, or, game by game? Like, I want to get into your head a little bit, right? How does that kind of pan out for you?
Yeah. Definitely from when I first came to America to now, I've changed so much, both on and off the field. But if we're talking strictly on the field, I think just having that belief, things aren't always going to go your way. And even this year, there were games where, I didn't put in good performances, or I made mistakes that led to goals. But that's just all part of the game. And you've just got to keep believing, keep working hard. I think I often sort of reflect and I go, well, I didn't just happen to stumble across Concord or Findlay and now I'm there. I'm here for a reason. I've worked hard. I've put in the hours. So I guess just go and show it. Just have that self-belief, have that confidence. Particularly before games, I'd always just try and, relax myself a bit. Other guys, they might listen to sort of pump up music before games or anything, but I'm sort of just there in the corner, just trying to chill, just going like, right, just focus for the game. Like, you know what you've got to do. If things aren't going well, then, that you just control what you can control. Try and stay focused, do what you can, and it'll fall in your lap. So I think a lot of that has to do with the work I've put in prior to where I am now, and what I've learned over my time being here. Because as I said, in that freshman year when I came in, I was just a little boy, just a little kid. I didn't know a thing about soccer, and having played up against some of the best teams in the nation, played in a team like I am now, one of the best teams in our conference, it really, I really grew a lot, and understand that with that belief, it really is the ceiling of my achievements, I guess, was when I first came in. I thought, I'll just probably achieve this, achieve that. I've ended up achieving this and that, and I think just realizing, you just got to believe. You just got to believe. Put in the hard work, put in the hours, and you can achieve all that. It's something that my mindset's definitely changed a lot over the 3 years.
Well, mate, you know that we've always believed in you, brother, and
thank you.
Thank you. I know that you're going to continue to just totally crush it, come what may, and a lot of really exciting opportunities on your way as well. I think I'll leave this to you, and maybe you can explain a little bit better. A lot of prospects and especially those who might be playing in elite levels here locally at home, they kind of look at the landscape and they kind of go, okay, hey, can you get me into a Division 1 team? Because they think and feel that that's probably the highest level. Given your experience across Division 2 and the elite levels of Division 2, tell us more about what the standard is compared to what you've experienced back home in terms of the quality of play, quality of player, given the fact that you got an international mix of players that you play against and that whom you play alongside. What's your take on all of that?
Yeah. I think the first thing that comes to mind when you ask me that is one of my teammates is actually a transfer from a D1 school. So he did 4 years at the D1 level, graduated, come here. He's doing his graduate program now. And one of the first things that he said to me was, I didn't even really look at Division 2 because I thought, it was just going to be such a lower level than Division 1. And now he's saying, I wish I transferred to Division 2 earlier, because the level of players across the country, across all divisions, is just not what he expected. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. Even when I was going through the recruiting process, I was like, Division 1 sort of like where you want to be. If I don't get a Division 1 offer, then I'm a little bit disappointed. But after coming out here, you go, wow, there's a lot of Division 2 teams would probably beat some Division 1 teams. And I think that just is a credit to the US system, because it's like, no matter what level you're playing at, whether it's junior college, Division 3, Division 2, Division 1, there are quality teams everywhere. And I think what is the standout, at least in my eyes, when I came in, obviously there's a mix of Americans and internationals, but just the athleticism compared to back home. These guys live and breathe being athletes, and I think that's what sets them apart from the rest. A lot of guys probably come in here from back home and they go, I've always been the technical one. I've been really good technically, but I think there's such an emphasis here on not just being a soccer player, but being an athlete as well. Obviously a student athlete. But I think back home, it's very much more on the technical side of things. Whereas out here, you've really got to focus on the athletic side of things as well.
Yeah. You're right. So I think the biggest thing that I see in the transition for a lot of our kids here locally is that athletic piece. And so you kind of reiterating that is really important, because you're training pretty much during season, you're training every single day. Is that right?
Yeah.
So, you're training every single day. Obviously, you have to balance your study in between that. And then you're playing typically, 2 games a week, right? So it's a big, busy schedule, and you've got to learn how to balance it. But it looks like you've balanced it expertly, and you've done exceptionally well, and really excited. Who you guys up against in the first round of the tournament?
We've got Maryville in Missouri.
Big game.
Yeah, no, they're a really good side. So, and it's at their place as well. So I think it's like we travel on a charter for like 8 hours or something, and then we travel on the Friday and then play the Saturday. But the women are also hosting their national game as well, so it's going to be probably a big turnout.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you, man. Like, it's going to be a big game. Maryville always within the national rankings, top 25 D2, in and out of it. So, mate, I'm excited for you, man. What a story, brother. We love you. Done exceptionally well this year, and I'm just so excited for the trajectory of the rest of this season leading up into the national tournament rounds, and then obviously beyond that as well. But really appreciate it, man. Thanks for the insight.
No worries. I appreciate all the support that you've shown across the 3 years. It's been immense. I appreciate it.
No problem at all, man. We'll watch you in the national tournament rounds, and really excited for you, bud.
Yeah, buzzing. Really looking forward to it.